saw the question about the slices of bread that you put in the toaster I sent you the other day, but I was hoping for an answer, H. I accidentally put 2 slices of bread in, and I only meant to put one. Wasn't sure if both pieces were coming out as toast, or just one was. Appreciate
There,
any
there,
guidance on that.
so there's three slots that are recorded. There's the rig slot. There's the what's called the MEV slot, which is for priority, and then there is the hash slot. All of those are used to help compute what your based boost is, and then all the additional things that you do are added to that. Whenever you claim or post claims, then your claim frequency is deducted from what all your net boost calculations are. So if you, let's say, um, uh, exceed the max cap on your activation, your rig, then everything else spills into your MEV slot, and it's used accordingly to give you priority. So there's this really interesting case where somebody could have not contributed any hash, but contributed a lot of rig, um, by contributing more on the rig side than the hash side, you'll end up having a higher priority in receiving claims than you, or having your hashes verified than you would, let's say, if you went heavier on the hash side. There's a balance eventually where when you factor the math, it doesn't matter anymore at a certain scale. But there's people that slammed 100 soul into the rig, but not any soul into, let's say, hash. Those people have a priority in the claims queue that's significantly greater than perhaps everybody. Um, Vice versa, people that are frequently contributing to the hash side, they're benefiting on a different calculation on what the amount of boost that they have looks like. So it's a yeah, that part.
So can you tell if, like, let's say you went heavy on your activation, can you then tell based upon like a throttling of what you're receiving claim wise that you might need to even out by boosting and going hash heavy?
So if you're really savvy and you look at um, the data posts, what you'll look for is a field with the property M, where it's a tuple of sorry, I haven't spoken to humans all day, so it's difficult to transition from like talking to the computer all day. Um, but there's a tuple that has an array of messages in it. If you go and decode those messages, what you'll be able to do is decipher explicitly where your boost, or how your boosts are being calculated. It will eventually surface on the UI. Just trying to make sure it's not something that's going to inundate the user experience, because some people have these crickety phones that are not perform that are not performant. So we have to constantly change things to so that their devices can thrive just as well. So the data is there if you look for it. It will be there very publicly, much like the logs are there very publicly soon. Yeah, we won't announce it, but you'll see it.
Cleared up.
Yeah, and while H is talking, I pinned the tweet uh, that we're like talking about to the top.
Sometimes you won't see boosts, but you'll see accumulation on the unclaimed. If you don't see your boost score there, it means that you're either it means you're likely connected to the socket uh, network exclusively, and you're not making REST pings, which is the fallback method for uh, how you're posting your hashes, but it's also how you're getting the feedback loop on the statistics as far as what hashes or how many hashes have been validated based on your unclaimed amounts. So if you see data that might feel inconsistent, it more than likely means you're connected by way of a fallback mechanism, just because it's impossible to take in that amount of uh, uh, socket load at the same time. So
I knew it was about socket load. I had a feeling.
So for people that are mining and not seeing that boost come up, they are still mining and like they're safe to just kind of let that session kind of cook as is.
let it cook, but just I mean, I would look. I would look for signs of life. The sign of life that matters the most is that you're incrementing on your unclaimed. If your unclaimed is not incrementing at all, then that's when you want to consider creating a new session. Um, I personally feel it's better to create because I go through the experiences as well testing, and I find that when I'm not running any kind of meaningful amount of unclaimed accumulation, I just reset it and run it back. And run it back and run it back and run it back. To me, that's the better thing to do, because what you never know is if the network is going to um, uh, be congested to a point that you're not able to operate your rig in a way that makes you comfortable. If you thrive when you get a lot of feedback, if you thrive when you see the pool going turbo, showing you what other people are doing, opposed to looking at the claims queue. Um, to me, if you're looking for that type of feedback loop and that makes you comfortable, then I would, when I don't see that, I would reset and run it back again.
So you should see parity with what's in that claims, the mining queue.
Yeah, I mean, if the mining queue's turbo, then for me personally, it makes me feel confident in my network connectivity. If it's stale, then I know either I'm not fully connected to the network or I'm running on fumes, so to speak. I have a last mile connection to the network. That doesn't make me personally feel comfortable. So it means, I'll look at how many people are actively mining, and I take that in consideration to historical sessions that I have. So if we're above 4K and I notice that it feels like it's freezing, and that makes me uncomfortable, then I'm going to click stop and claim as soon as I can, and then rerun it back and just keep rerunning it back. If I feel like we're not as high on that amount of active miners, then I might let it go stale as long as I see it incrementing on the unclaimed. So all of those different signals are there so that you can take the path that makes you feel the best. Some people keep the claiming queue open and they operate exclusively off the claiming queue. For me, that's not effective. I like to operate uh, off of seeing everything just glow. I like to see my rig turn green as much as it possibly can turn green. If it's turning green, I feel good. If it's turning red, I'm terrified. If it's turning yellow, then I know I have a real network issue.
So if we just boosted, like if we had a ton of boosts, right, and now V2's upgraded, we don't see any of our boosts, that could potentially mean that we have been doing a ton of claiming and that we've been like throttled because of that.
If you claim disproportionate to your boosting activity, there's a world where your math is not going to math in the radical way you want it to math.
Would adding boost supplement that kind of like that over lopsided area?
Yeah, adding boost uh, is the so your activation, um, your anything that you have in your MEV slot, and then anything that you have as far as boost. So any sole contributions net. That's the first thing that's used to create your base boost. Then um, all of the diamond data, all of the you get nothing data, the void data, the uh, Ethereum data. All of that data then is used to create additional value that goes on top of that boost. the last step is what gets subtracted. What gets subtracted is how much you've been using the network. So when you're claiming, that gets placed into a score that gets deducted from what's considered your final boost.
Where is the metric for your MEV slot?
You would only see it in the boost. If you wanted to see it direct, you'd see it in the slot data. So if you excuse me, in the message data. So if you look, if you know how to read the logs, look in the logs, and there's a field called M. The field called M, if you're connected via sockets, you'll see the field called M populated with an array of messages. So you'll get a Drupal of a bunch of different encodings, and you just decode that value, and you'll know explicitly you got 100, 100 boosts from your diamond. You got 30 boosts because you had your Twitter connected. You got 15 boosts because this happened, and 5 boosts because that happened, and because you have luck from when you were swapping, you have this happening. Because you swapped on Soul Live recently, you have this happening. All of those values are added to that object for you to see. Just because you onboarded in the first 100, you onboarded in the first 1,000, you onboarded in the first 5,000. Those are all value multiples that contribute to your boost score.
H, if your miner's off kilter because you've been running it and maybe claiming more than you set up that miner originally to do so, in addition to some of the things that you told us to maybe bring it back to balance, is doing nothing and just letting that thing cool out a part of that as well?
So your real cool outcomes when you spawn your value, I'm air quoting here, it's not a penalty, it's just utilization. That utilization, that deduction, it's eliminated. It goes back to 0.
Gotcha.
So you could clear that out by using that other part of the ecosystem and spawning.
Correct.
What was the word you used? Drupal?
I'll type it out. It's with a T, tuple. I'm saying it with an R just because Drupal is a CMS, the old school CMS.
Got it. I'm just trying to learn.
It's an array. It's an array of encoded data.
Dude, appreciate you coming in here and clearing that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna jump now.
Yeah.
I'm in like a way different mental space. So
Yeah, go cook.
it's obvious. I'm not coherent it's hard to speak
That
English when I'm in that when I'm in the kitchen.
It's hot. Get it in there.
Let him cook.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, I appreciate coming in.
Appreciate you, H.
All right.
Thank you, H.
peace out.
Danny, you gotta let me review the message before you send them, man. I feel like you made it sound like we were like